Oh, we got one thumbs down already.
Before we even get started.
What are you going to do?
It wasn't me.
Wasn't me either.
Hi.
How's it going?
Ooh,
Oh, wait.
that's creepy.
So this is Thursday, and this is our Q&A, where we hang out with you all and ask questions. Wait, no. You ask questions, and we answer them. In the comments, or in the chat, is probably over on this side. And if you use a super chat, we will drop what we're doing and answer it ASAP. Also, we have some other questions that came in over Patreon. Those ones and super chats, we feature them on the screen and give you a shout out every week. It's kind of a thing we do here. And yeah, so how's it going?
I'm tired.
Yeah. Today's packing day.
I'm not even packing yet.
I know. Well, we're packing kitchen stuff, food and whatnot. Cooking. Yeah. So we leave for Colorado tomorrow to go out to Texas Toast Guitars and build some really cool guitars, which is really exciting. And I got pickup winding stuff all packed up so that we can go and do that as well. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about it. I see some people's here. So that's pretty awesome. The thumbnail tonight. So I posted a thing on Facebook today because I have a couple of short list guitars that I am tossing around buying. And people thought, well, first of all, people thought that I posted this because like you were going to make me get rid of some. Or
that's always the reason.
Yeah, Super chat.
Super chat from Doug Santanella. Thank you for the super chat, Doug. He says, building my spray booth, but I'm listening. Love you guys. That's
awesome.
Exciting.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, that's cool. And thanks for the super chat, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that very much, Doug. So anyway, and then a couple of people were like, sell stuff that the old lady doesn't notice instead of selling guitars. Maybe because they think I'm too broke to buy another guitar. That's why I'm doing it. So first of all, she's not my old lady. That is the stupidest thing you ever would call your... That's not the stupidest thing you'd ever call your wife, but it's right up there, and I hate that term. That I've actually not said hate in a long time. I've been really doing better with not exaggerating my feelings on that, but I hate that word. I hate that phrase. I cannot stand it. I don't like it at all. Anyway, so I don't ever use that word. Also, she doesn't care what I buy. As long as it's, sensible. Why is it always loud people drive by as soon as we go live every week?
Because they're always driving by. So they would
true.
Also drive by when you're live.
That's also true. So the idea is, my problem is not so much, buying and selling to get more guitars as much as space. Because even with
the space between
this, it's getting narrower up. Like we're running out of space. Somebody said today on Facebook, the solution really would be just get another thing to hang guitars on, which I was thinking about putting right there, but then the whiteboard would have to move, which we may do. I don't know. We'll see. But space is the problem because I'm out of room for cases is the really big problem. That's the real problem. Cases take up more room than guitars do. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. But anyway, I want to know first of all, what you think I should get rid of so I could get something else. Second of all, and you saw the thumbnail, you know what guitars we have up here. Second of all, what is your decision-making paradigm for that for yourself? Are you in accumulating mode? Do you have to sell one to get one? What determines that? Because I'm really having a hard time. If I had to sell one right now, I don't know which one it would be because I like them all so much. And it's really tough to figure that out. I have an idea, but then even that one I feel bad about. So we'll get to that later. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe some people are fill in some of those in, we can look at a couple of these Patreon questions. Is that all right?
Is that what you want to do?
Or do we have people piling up already?
We can do Patreon.
Okay, let's do Patreon and then let them fill up that comment section a little bit. Maybe ask some questions. Again, we will drop what we're doing for a super chat for sure. And yeah, because there are some interesting questions over here. Yes.
Shane. Morning, y'all. How's my accent?
He's in Japan, so.
I never had a guitar with a scalloped fretboard, but I have a few with jumbo frets. Is there much difference between a scalloped fretboard or one with jumbos? Is there such a thing as a scalloped with jumbos?
Yes, and yes, and yes. I'm not a big fan of scalloped fretboards because I just don't play that kind of music. However, I've played some scalloped fretboards with jumbo frets. And it is more than you would think. Big frets don't do the same thing as scalloping does. There's more there that creates a bigger gap than you actually realize until you start to play one. So it will make a difference if you do it or if you get one with it. And you probably wouldn't have to take as much wood away with jumbo frets, but it also depends on how much of that action you want. So I can't remember. Steve from Maximum Guitars had a scallop fretboard. Maybe next week when I'm at Texas Toast, I can measure it again. But I want to say that he only took out like a few millimeters. It was not a lot of material that came out of the neck, but it still is more than just the height of a fret. Super chat.
Super chat from Van Shank Guitars. Thank you for the super chat, Ivan. He says, I tend to not spend a whole lot on new guitars, so not a huge problem. I spend more on building new guitars.
See, that's cool, man. That's really cool. The hobby side of stuff is really cool. I mean, that's what we've been doing the whole time, really.
Supporting hobbies.
Yeah, supporting hobbies. That's what we're here for.
Greg, any insight on how the ferrite?
Yeah, ferrite.
Ferrite speakers in the St. James series might handle other amps. Those cabinets could be an interesting proposition for players that are otherwise happy with their current rig, so long as the drivers aren't super specifically tuned to Blackstar's spec in some sort of semi-proprietary way.
I don't know. I think people would just have to try those cabinets with other amps. I'm certain that they designed them to go together. And I think my guess would be that they focused on knowing what material they were going to use to get the cabinet as light as possible. And then played with the speaker manufacturer, Celestion, right? To get them as good as possible with the amp. But I doubt I bet you could put it with another 6L6 amp, like the one I have, this is 6L6. I bet you could put it with something else and it would sound good. I don't know because I've never done it, but I can imagine that they would work better. They would work well with other stuff. And then, of course, so here's the other thing, too. I don't know the answer to this question because I didn't look at the specs. You might be able to go to Blackstar's website and see if the speakers are different for the EL34 amp versus the 6L6 amp. Because you can get a 2x12 cabinet for each. Are those speakers for both amps different? That would tell you a lot about the answer to your question, because I don't know. I never looked at it because I didn't get an EL34 one, so I probably should have.
Super chat from Thomas Torville. Thank you for the super chat, Thomas. He says, hi, Dylan and Leslie. Have a safe trip.
I was really hoping, thank you, Thomas. I was really hoping to get him a guitar shipped before we left. But I want to replace the pots in one of the guitars still, and they only sent me one, and I need two. So that has to sit till we get back. But I did get the pickups made for it, And yeah, it's really, really cool. Yep, because Thomas is grabbing some of these Squires that we bought. So
That's
yeah,
fun.
super cool.
All right.
Yep.
Rob. Hello, Dylan and Leslie. Do you think a good luthier can take a humbucker routed Les Paul, enlarge the routes for P90s, install the new pickups, replace the pickguard with one size for P90s, and have the modified guitar look like the P90s were installed at the factory? Or will the modified guitar always show, quote, scars from the surgery? Thank you.
Um. So I know that the humbuckers can be converted. The P90 guitar can be converted to humbuckers. So I would assume that it can go the other way. I think you would still have screw holes from the mounting rings that would show. I'm pretty sure that would happen. Lengthwise, I think you'd be okay, but I think you would have they're narrower, so you would end up having screw holes showing. If you wanted to put humbucker size P90s in it, though, we make a good one, and it would get you there. I mean, they're really close to regular P90 sound because we've made some modifications to them lately to get them better, to get them closer to a regular P90 sound. So, um, yeah, man, I think that would be better. I wouldn't cut the guitar. I would just put hum size ones in it. Yep. Good question, though.
Nick. Hey guys, hope you're both well and looking forward to your Colorado trip. I'm considering getting my oldest child a mini Squire Strat for his 6th birthday. Do you know if the mini series are any good? He's only just taken an interest, so want to encourage. It may end up as nothing more than a dress up prop. Who knows?
That guitar is really good. It's a hardtail. They're like $140 or something. They're not expensive. I don't remember. Maybe, oh, I think he might be in England. So I don't know how much they are in British dollars, but they are really, really cool. I bought one. No, we had a viewer buy me one
Mm-hmm.
for a video one time. Two of them actually. I think he bought me a pink one and a white one, and they were great. And if your son
Mm.
does not want, oh, he just said oldest child, does not want to play the
We said
guitar.
his birthday.
Okay, so maybe I thought I did hear
Yeah.
that. So if your son ends up not wanting to play it, you will probably just use it playing in the living room. That would be the perfect little guitar to have one of those little headphone amps and just use it in the living room. It's a great little guitar. I mean, they're little $150 Squires, so don't, you might have to play with some fret ends and you might have to do some little this and that, but they're really cool and they're perfect for him. Also, I was in Guitar Center last week and I got to play one of the little baby Gibsons, the little baby Gibson SG. Incredible guitar. Really, really good little guitar. So that might be, if you wanted to go the Gibson route, a little more money though.
I don't know what I did. My bad. I don't know how that happened. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Both good options. Strat's cheaper though.
Super chat from Rick Bonneville. Thank you for the super chat, Rick. He
Thank you, Rick.
says, "Hey Dylan and Leslie. Dylan, you need to buy a golden telly. And by the way, not metric money."
Oh, nice. I can't tell, so he's in Canada, but he must be able to.
I think he just doesn't like you saying metric money.
Oh, well, it is metric money
I don't even know what that means, so don't look at me for confirmation.
though. It's Canadian dollar. See, because it says CA right there. That's how you can tell. Anyway, golden telly, maybe. The reason I don't is because they're super nichey. A lot of people want me to buy these really, really nichey guitars. And the reason I don't is because I don't know how to put this without it sounding weird. Okay, so I'll just say it and then work out the details later.
First draft.
They're not good for views. And I'm just gonna say that because that's my first instinct. But it's not about the views itself. The reason they're not good for views is because nobody cares about them except for the people that care about them. So it's like really niche car stuff. Like nobody cares about, I don't know, Opel GTs unless you're an Opel GT guy. Then you know everything there is to know about it, and you're on that forum and you ask all those questions and you're really into them. But if you're not an Opel GT guy, nobody cares about those cars. It's some of these guitars that people ask me about, Parkers, Godins. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Everybody wants me to buy GNL stuff. And the people that like them really like them, but there's not enough of the market. They don't have a big enough market share for me to make helpful videos for people that don't care about them, if that makes sense. And I don't feel like me doing videos about that really niche stuff will help people be like, oh, I think I want to go buy one now. You know what I mean? It's either you like them or you don't. People, Matt and Chris were talking about Rickenbackers earlier. And I'm just like, I could care less about Rickenbackers. I do not care about them. I think they're neat looking, and Tom Petty looks cool holding one, RIP, and he makes a good sound with it, and so does Mike Campbell. But if I bought one, like 6 people would like it. So I want to, be of value to more people than that.
So Rick said they're really, it's $8.99 Canadian, sensible price, and they're really good. Have you played one? Has Dylan played one?
I have played one. Yeah, I have played them. Yes, I have played them. I think too, people also really want me to review all of these generic guitars. I'll show you one. Actually, I have one right here. Let me just grab this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is one of those vintage Telecasters, and this is the vintage Icon series, and it's like all relic and stuff. This is a Chinese guitar. It's made, I think they're like $900 or something. And everybody wants me to review like these and Sire and Godin and all of those Chinese Telecaster, whatever. Remember when we were at NAMM and we actually saw these?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
And we were walking around, and I was just telling you, I was like, I feel like I'm walking around and I'm seeing the same exact guitar over and over and over again with a different name on the headstock. But I'm just seeing a Chinese Tele 19 different ways. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so generic to me. So that's why I don't, because people are constantly like the Sire thing. Everybody wants me to do a Sire S7 or whatever. And I'm just like, I just don't. Then somebody's going to be like, well, do this other $800 Chinese thing. Do this other $800 Chinese thing. And they're all the friggin' same. In my opinion, they will be about the same. If you want one and you are drawn to one and you want to pay the money for a setup, because it'll probably need it, then by all means, just go buy the guitar. Don't worry about reviews. Like, if you want that guitar and you are attracted to it, then just go get it. If you're attracted to one of these, just go get it. The only reason I have this, I would not have even ordered this. In fact, I didn't order this. The only reason I ordered it or got it sent here is because this is going to become a build project for a specific person. And I said, hey, that sounds kind of cool. I don't want to spoil it right now. I don't want to spoil the project because we have a bunch of parts coming for it and stuff. It's going to be really cool. But so you'll see more about this guitar in the future. But this is a perfect example of something exactly like what you're saying. An $800 knockoff guitar They're kind of all the same. If you like it, get it. Just so happens that I had a good example of one.
I don't know where everybody. You didn't say Godin was in China. I don't think you talked about anything being made in China except what you just showed.
Yeah.
So we were talking about niche-y, small companies, not. I don't know.
Godin's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Godin's Canadian.
Where things were made. People are like, this is made here. This is made here. I don't know that we even said that.
I don't necessarily care about where it's made. In fact, I do not care where it's made. I'm just saying, especially in that price range, and maybe, okay, this is an interesting subject because people in the comments constantly want me to review all this stuff. The reason I'm not interested in it, like I said, is because they're constantly like, what do you think about the quality of this? What do you think about the quality of this? I'll tell you what I think right now in a couple of sentences. From $5.99 to $8.99, any guitar, as long as it shows up and it's in one piece and the frets aren't popping out of the thing and it works, it's probably good. Because that segment of the market there's a real reason why that segment of the market exists, that $500 to $800 market segment. It's because it's a quality instrument. It's not like in the 70s. It's a quality instrument that works, that is an aspirational instrument to something better later on. So you're not going to have the thing really for 20 years. And you may, but it's not created for that purpose. That guitar is made from $500 to $800, is made to be like, it's a great entry-level guitar. It feels good. It works good. It is good. But it's not my dream guitar. So I'll have that for a couple of years. Then I'll upgrade to this other one. And so I don't feel that there's a ton of time needed to be spent reviewing and breaking down all those instruments because they're kind of all the same in that segment. Then when you get up to the next level of things, then it kind of starts to matter. But that segment right there is pretty generic, in my opinion.
Super chat from Alonzo White. Thank you for the super chat, Alonzo. I bought a Squier Strat. Really like it, but the volume knob seems too close to the bridge. Is that a known problem?
Well, Strats are like that. That is how they're designed. And the idea is, so if you don't like it, try playing around with a couple things. While you're playing, hook your finger down there and on purpose try to move that volume knob and see if you can create some effects with it. Start with 0 with the knob all the way down. Strike a note and then turn it all the way up and then strike another note. See if you can get some swells going. That's the idea. The idea was to make it accessible to your finger so you didn't have to, you know what I mean? It can feel a little klutzy at first, but the design is there so that it's right there. So don't think about it as a limiting factor. Think about it as wait, how can I use this to make some sounds and some effects that maybe I couldn't if it was too far away. Because it was kind of designed that way on purpose. That's a cool thing I like that when people buy a guitar and they're like, wait a minute, I'm noticing a feature I do and don't like. Even on the most, it's a Strat thing. So I love that you figured that out.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, are you ready to dig into these 36
we are.
Things I have saved?
Oh my gosh, yeah, let's go.
I mean, some of them are just...
we're just observations of what we're talking about?
Yeah. Gary Simmons says, my wife doesn't care what I buy, but I do care about blowing the money. I have 5 electrics and nearly pulled the trigger on number 6 today, a Reverend Jetstream 390.
Ooh, see, that would be a hard one not to buy right there.
Thomas Torville says, hi everyone, not selling any of my guitars, should never sell any, just buy more.
I've seen, he's on Patreon with us on our little monthly hangout.
Mm-hmm.
he's been having to do the same thing. He's been adding hanging things, and it's getting pretty serious at Thomas Tourville's house. I've seen
That's
it.
fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Someone's dad. I buy and sell guitars as the whim or need takes me. I have had to sell guitars, and I've just gotten a wild hair and sold some. I buy in a similar fashion.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
Fat Philosopher says she doesn't care what I buy unless. That qualifier speaks volumes. Because you did say that. Unless.
Yeah, so that doesn't just apply to guitars. We talk about the decision-making paradigm in our household is we have goals. We have big goals. Like we have big plans. Like we want to do things. And so it's, does this contribute to or take away from those things that we want to do? And most of the time, what's really funny is because the guitars are the business kind of, most of the time guitars do contribute to that. Every once in a while, there's a guitar that I just want it. The Mark Lettieri Fiore is that guitar this year that I just wanted it. There was no real business case for it. But that doesn't happen very often. That might be the only time ever, actually, that happened.
Brian Phelps says, usually I have to sell one to get one. House rules.
Makes sense. A lot of people have those.
Shiznit says, I think it's worth saving and buying the right guitar so you don't have to sell it.
That's kind of where I've been going. Yeah, that's kind of where I've been going too. Yep.
Gary Simmons, I owned an Opel GT for a year. Didn't get me laid. LOL.
Because they're kind of lame. They're cool, but they're slow.
So the original question was, what were you getting rid of? Charles Wallace said he would say the McPherson because you want a newer model of that.
See, yeah, he just ruined it. No, he knows. We've talked about it. He's also on our monthly hangout on Patreon, and so that's why he knows that, because we've talked about that. There's a new one that came out in a different pattern of carbon fiber, and I really do want it. But
Chuck C, I've only sold guitars that I just didn't play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Martian Murray says, trick question. You sell your car, your house, your body, whatever, as long as you can keep your guitars.
That's funny.
Sell your body.
That's really funny.
John Owen 11 can't play any ride. Instead, he's stuck at 11. He's feeling the economy lately.
Oh, yep. Yeah, we've been watching your name. We've been paying attention.
Stuck at 11.
Stuck at 11 for a while now.
The alternative says old lady is disrespectful and old lady is respectful in the older motorcycle world.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm probably not in the same motorcycle world that you're in. We'll just leave it at that.
Someone's dad says, Dylan, not the Opal. John Owen 11 can't play any ride. He says, love that Batfish guitar.
Yeah, that thing's cool.
Patrick Trites, I've never sold any guitars. I gave one away about 30 years ago. That's really impressive. I mean, I don't know how many he's got, but Gary Simmons, you were talking about adjusting something. So don't P94s fit in a humbucker route?
Yeah, so our humbucker size P90s are basically a P94. I will say, I'm pretty sure now the Batfish, the black one back here, I'd have to discuss it with my compatriot, but
with what?
I think it's for sale. If somebody wanted the black Batfish, and it is the prototype. Not that there's nothing prototypey about it. It's perfect, and it has the cool leopard skin inside hard shell case and everything. It is for sale. That guitar is for sale, and it's very, very special and very cool. So if somebody were interested in that, think it would be $2,500, but it would be ready to go at any time.
Dave O. Dude says, did you sell the RV?
We sold the big one, and we have a small one.
There's your 10-month catch-up. It's
Yes.
been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 10 months ago. Was it? Oh my gosh, it was 10 months ago. Wow. Time goes by.
Thomas Torville says, hi, Dylan and Leslie. Have a safe trip to Denver.
Thank you.
I want to go away. Oh, there it goes. Rick Bonneville says, Dylan and Leslie, if I win the Lotto Max and buy you a Rev that has your logo that lights up, can I be on the show live? LOL.
Yep. Yeah, if you buy me an amp with my name...
don't you get like a bunch of best friends if you win the Lotto?
I wouldn't even ask for anything. But I mean, if anybody that buys me an amp, yeah, they can come be on the show for sure.
There you go. He said it, not me.
Or a guitar, or No,
Dastardly Dave
Harley
said
Benton.
Steve made it variable, the scalped frets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Dastardly Dave. I was thinking that he made it... It was like a couple of millimeters for the first... And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Dave, you might have remembered the numbers better than me. But I want to say, when Steve from Maximum made that scallop neck, it was like the first 4 or 5 frets were a couple of millimeters, and then the next 7 or 8 were a few more or a couple more millimeters, or a millimeter or 2 more. And then the last little segment, down like in the Steve Vai zone, was like a little bit more, like a little deeper. And I think it kind of stepped down as it went. Yeah.
That was a lot of hands in my face. Yeah.
Sorry.
Pat Velasper says, have the guitar sent to your work address and then bring it home in an old generic case. That will fool the wife. Not here, it wouldn't.
Nope.
It's the same address.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't think you have to fool me.
Well,
maybe that was advice for other folks.
First of all, I don't have to fool you, number one. And number two, what's really funny is that all of my guitars ship to my mother-in-law's house. So she knows before I know when a guitar shows up.
Jeffrey Egan says the guitars I'd consider getting rid of, not that he got rid of, he'd consider
it.
Getting rid of are the ones I just never connected with.
That's so interesting. I've had guitars that I've not really connected with, but then I've like done stuff to them to make myself connect with them. And I think I'm getting to the point where one of the things I'm trying to do is appreciate what the guitar is for. Like, we have some really crazily different stuff back there. The pink guitar and the purple guitar especially are very kind of specific, right? The MGK guitar and that Kramer back there are very specific. And they're not made for music that I'm really versed in. I mean, I love the music, but I don't play it. And so instead of being like, this guitar's dumb, I'm not really connecting with it, I'm trying to like...
You almost said converting.
Yeah, yes. I'm trying to connect with the music more. I'm listening to more of the music. I'm trying to learn about it so that I can expand my brain and really, take the guitar in for what it's for instead of just dismiss it because it's something I'm not familiar with or not connecting with. We were talking about this last night because we went to see... Oh, and we should update you on this. We went to see last night Peter and Brendan Mayer. No relation to John, but Peter Mayer has played guitar for Jimmy Buffett for 33 years. And he has written a bunch of songs with Jimmy Buffett. He does not sound like Jimmy Buffett. He does not wear a Hawaiian shirt. He does not sound like Margaritaville. He's singer-songwriter style, but harmonies and fantastic, fantastic stuff. And I was sitting there listening to him last night thinking, it's really nice to be at a gig and not care. I didn't know until after what his guitar was, what was on his pedal board, what his amp was. I didn't care about any of that. I just sat there and listened and like really enjoyed it and didn't care about the gear, didn't care about, because guitar players can pedal board peep so hard that they're like not paying attention to the music. And I was like, this was really nice to not do this. So I'm trying to connect with the music more and then let the guitar come to me, if that makes sense. It's a long little rant here, but it's something I've been really thinking about a lot lately.
We almost didn't go.
And we almost didn't go. That's right. Yeah, you're like, do you really want to go? I'm not really that excited about it. And I'm like,
I didn't know what it was. We bought
those tickets like 4
we're talking
months
about
ago.
impulse purchases. I was convinced that I needed to buy these tickets.
Not by me,
like,
somebody else.
Cool, let's go. And then I never even looked to see who it was or what kind of music it was.
Also, it was in my favorite room in town. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite room to play in town. I love, love, love playing there. And there was 30 people there. And it was one of the coolest, most fun times we've had in a long time. Just to appreciate the music and not even think about the guitar. It was great. It was so fun. Yep. Anyway. Rant over.
That's a rant?
Yeah, that's how angry I am. Can you tell? That's how angry and worked
Fat
up
Philosopher says Leslie is the exception, not the rule.
Duh.
That's
what I say.
Alonzo White says, sometimes you don't know if it's the right guitar until you actually own it for a while.
And sometimes you have to you have to keep it and play it and then not play it and then go back to it. And when I got my Silver Sky, I thought I made a huge mistake for the first 2 or 3 weeks probably. And now I love that guitar. But yeah, I thought I was wrong when I first got it.
Angel Raven 444. My wife has an app that shows when I buy something over $100. I love her though.
That's awesome. That's funny. Somehow we have this weird thing. I don't know what happened. Somehow my checking account, and this is not even on purpose. I have a checking account that I use for this stuff. Somehow it sends her alerts when I buy stuff. I don't know why I don't know what happened, but it's not even on purpose, but I have the same thing.
But most of the time I ignore it, except that he had fraudulent behavior that I caught.
She did. She caught some fraud stuff, and I didn't know it. So, yeah.
Anyway, sidebar. Angel Raven 444 also said, my rule is not using it for 6 months, then sell it.
I get that.
Chuck C says, I'm fortunate enough to have a dry basement for my 29 guitars and counting.
Nice.
That's a good collection. Fat Philosopher says, I've only bought 3 guitars this year and none since May.
Wow.
Brian Phelps, my father has only sold one and bought one in the early 60s. He still has his 1960 ES355 TD SV and his 1965 Gibson Ranger 55 RVT.
Wow. So the 355 TD.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and it might not be the exact model number, but very similar to the one that Marty McFly plays in Back to the Future.
Jeffrey Egan, it's tough trying to decide which guitar to get rid of. I think I'm going to sell a couple. I just don't play hardly at all. Already sold one to my boss for his son. I didn't even know he's working. Rusty Shackelford, just sell me the Silver Sky. That's not so hard. Rob F. If you enjoy playing the guitar and you give it regular playing time, then I think it should not be a candidate to sell.
I agree.
And Rob F. also said, I only have one guitar today. Other guitars in the house belong to my kids.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Driddle says, Opal, I had a cadet wagon.
See, that's cooler than the little Opel poor man's Corvette thing.
Gary Simmons says, my wife has the rule of 2. She doesn't care what 2 motorcycles I have, but I am limited to 2. Luckily, that rule doesn't apply to guitars and basses.
That's a good rule.
That's pretty cool. Banshank Guitar says, LOL, my wife sees everything. Driddle says, 0 guitars for a while, 1 Texas Toast guitar build class.
Oh, nice.
When is that?
I used to buy shoes and leave the boxes in the car for like a week. Not in the last 10 years.
What does that mean? Oh, because you couldn't say you bought shoes?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I used to buy a lot more shoes, though.
You're not even by yourself enough to buy anything.
What? Oh, I'm not. Yeah, we're together all the time, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
All right. I just want to.
Are you filtering out those and then going back to some regular questions?
Now we're going to questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's do it. We're at 8:40. Yep.
I know.
No, it's okay.
But you keep talking. I can't read as long as you have a comment for every comment.
You know. They made the comment. I want to make sure that we chat about it because it's cool.
I don't even know what that means. Let's see. Somebody, did anybody else Joe? I don't know. Did anybody else used to read Musician's Friend magazine at school as a kid and drool over all the cool stuff?
So, yes and no.
It was a magazine?
Well, it used to be a catalog that you would get.
Ah.
And it was, yes, I remember looking through it. I actually used to get one from Manny's too. And there used to be a one from 48th Street Music in New York City too. That I used to get. Yep. You can still get a hard copy of the Sweetwater catalog, but that thing is like the Sears catalog.
You can get one like every week.
Yeah, we used to.
And Uline.
Yeah, you order one box set of. I order those white boxes. You know, if you order pickups from us and it comes in little white boxes, you get a catalog that thick every 2 weeks after that. How many boxes do you think I'm going to buy?
A lot.
We buy a lot. We do buy a lot.
All right, add a TM. Dear Dylan, he says humbucker. If a humbucker in the bridge hot wire is set by the manufacturer as south start and north start as ground, what difference would it make?
So if it's a 2-wire humbucker, you should hook it up that way. And it doesn't matter unless you are putting it with another pickup of a different brand in case they're not wired the same. But it doesn't matter on its own.
Shiznit, any thoughts on the Seymour Duncan P rails?
I think they're dumb, and I think they are the most. I don't know. I think the people that have them think they're mediocre at everything and not good at anything, and the people that don't have them are super curious about them, but not enough to buy them for themselves because they've already talked to the people that said that they weren't really good at anything. They're not that good.
Angel Raven 444. Hey Dylan, is a classic vibe Mustang any good? I'm thinking of getting one used for around 300 Canadian.
If you're buying, they're cool. If you're going to buy a used one, just to make sure that everything works and make sure you don't have any frets popping out or anything. If you're buying a used one, you might maybe meet the guy at your local music store and have him look it over for you. If you're not super versed in guitar setup stuff, just don't want you to get ripped off. But on its face, it's a cool little guitar, yes.
I'm going to ask this question because apparently I put it on the screen. Van Shank Guitars wants to know, anybody ever drive
a Lada?
A Lada.
So a Lada is...
A Lada what?
A lot of garbage. It is a Russian... The Ladas that I know of are like a Russian SUV. Coil spring suspension, terrible engine, broke down a lot because they're Russian. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what they would be.
Did
Sort
you
of
ever drive one?
No, I have a whole story about Lada suspension though, because this one time I was helping my buddy. We were importing suspensions from Australia, and that was one of the models. But long story short, anyway, I had some Lada parts, but I've never actually driven one. Yeah. Think S10 Blazer, but Russian and terrible. Yeah.
Schlep. Hi, Dylan. Thoughts on the value of running the racks to buy a production guitar? Thanks.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Running the racks? If you mean running the racks, like just going to the store and like feeling a bunch of them, then do it. Yeah, for sure. I just bought my stuff off Sweetwater.
Michael Poole. I'm at the point I only buy my dream guitars. I try to buy good deals, or like my Les Paul and Custom 24 I bought just before a price increase. So if I sell, I can't replace them without taking a loss.
That's where I'm at with my PRSs.
SF. Dylan, why do your live show playback have commercials every 4 minutes? Just wondering.
Because YouTube puts them in there.
Yeah. And if you're seeing it like actually live, I have no idea what causes that. I even see it myself every once in a while.
I don't know what causes it.
Shouldn't happen.
And we can't control it.
But yeah, we don't do that at all. Any of them. Any of the things you see, we don't do. I feel like I was...
Because YouTube isn't free, that's why.
Sure it is.
I mean, TV wasn't free. And 20% of your hour was commercials. So it's kind of the same.
Yeah, if you need some medication, make sure you watch the news.
Actually, to add to that, here's how you get rid of them. You join YouTube Red or whatever the paid service for YouTube is, and it gets rid of all the ads. And what it also does is it splits the revenue that you spend on that between the people that you watch. So believe it or not, if you all subscribe to YouTube Red, I would make more money than if you did not. And you would have no commercials. It actually pays me better from YouTube if you don't have commercials. Just FYI. Kind of an interesting, weird thing.
Celtic Saint 777. How could you consider parting with the Sable?
I will never sell that guitar unless it's to get another one.
Josh M. Prefer bass with active pickups or passive pickups with active preamp equalizer on board?
Passive pickups with preamp.
Curtis Chavez. I have no connection with my Gretsch Stump-O-Matic. 3 pickups, crappy controls, too cluttered, adjusted pickup height. Still don't like the sound. Ideas?
A Gretsch is an interesting one. I can understand, after we've talked about this whole keep it and keep playing it and messing around with it, Gretsch is almost sort of on the fringe, and if it's something you can't get into, then you might not be able to get into it. I'm not a Gretsch person either, and you really won't see me buying one either, because they are kind of way out there in comparison to anything we've been talking about so far. That's funny.
Someone's dad. Growing up in Savannah, Portman's Music was the only place to get guitar company brochures. We didn't really have bigger guitar store access, but Portman's was a Gibson, PRS, and Fender dealer.
We have Portman's in Augusta too.
Yeah.
So there's two locations.
Yeah.
One in Savannah and one in Augusta.
Yeah, that was weird to read. I was like,
that was really weird. They're like 2 miles from me.
Additium. I already read that. They must have sent it twice. Rick Bonneville. I have sold every guitar and bass I've ever owned. They are tools, and we are all just custodians.
That I get too. Jay Leno would say that about cars.
C. David Lake 2. When are we going to see an ERT review? They're insanely good for the money. EART.
Yeah, I have an opportunity to review one because we have a viewer that's a friend of mine and he has one. And if it works out, I might get it. I don't know, though. We'll see.
Windsurf Maui. Once I complete a parts caster, then I sell a factory made, or at least I think hard about selling one.
That's funny.
Rusty, how about guitars sold with electronic options? Loaded pick guards chosen by the buyer at time of purchase.
We do that. You can go to dylantalkstone.com right now or after, or right now, like open up a separate window, and you can order a loaded pick guard. We make probably a half a dozen of them a week right now. We're making lots of them. There's pick guards laying everywhere. Actually, I've got some right over there. We're doing that a lot. So you can get humbucker in the bridge position. You can get a couple P90s in there. You could pick your pots that you want, pick the capacitor that you want. We even had a guy say, I want the volume knob delete this week. So we did that for him. I didn't even tell him, but we did it anyway. He's like, I don't care if there's just a hole there. I just don't want the volume knob there. Just move it all down. And I was like, nah, I'm going to get you a custom pick guard made so that you don't have the hole. I didn't tell him. I just surprised him with it. We do that kind of stuff all the time, man. It's awesome. Yeah. You can pick your colors. We've done tortoiseshell, black, white, and perloid so far this week, I think.
David Kornblatt said, Gretsch or Rickenbacker, Dylan?
Gretsch over Rickenbacker, for sure. The other reason I don't like Rickenbackers is because the neck is only like this big. It's teeny tiny. And I don't like the way they sound either. Unless it's a 12-string. If you have to have an electric 12-string, I think Rickenbacker's the only way to do it. But only Tom Petty needed a 12-string. Oh, maybe the Beatles, but I don't really care about the Beatles. I said what I said.
Someone's dad said, I had no idea Portman's moved upriver. Got to visit now. I think unless it's closed in Savannah, they've always had 2 locations.
Yeah, Savannah's the mothership store. And, well, what Kevin tells me, because I have friends that work there. And what Kevin tells me is that Savannah's like the mothership store. And Augusta is the satellite store. Because he's always like, we're the wicked stepchild of, like, the inventory that we get, so we don't always get the cool stuff. They always get it first, but they do have a lot of stuff. It's pretty cool.
David Kornblatt, even a pick guard loaded with Filtertrons?
No. There's drop-down buttons or drop-down thingies that you can pick various stuff that we have available.
Benny's World, how about Dan Electros?
I love Dan. Remember, I bought one. I bought a I want to say it was a 61. It was a silver tone, but it was a silver tone, but it was a Dan Electro body with the silver tone hockey stick head. And that thing was super cool. And I played it for a while and I restored it all and got it really awesome. And it was there was a surge of hipstery dudes around Atlanta that really wanted that stuff, and so I sold it and made a bunch of money. I think I sold it for $800, and I bought it for like $150 and put like an afternoon worth of work in it. So I kind of had to sell it because it was in demand at the time.
SF Dylan, I wire a low voltage resistor to my guitar jack, positive wire, to prevent accidental surges by faulty amp or electricity. Have you tried this in your builds?
You do not need to do that unless you're playing an old AC30 with a death cap, which you should not be doing. If you have a proper grounded amplifier with a 3-prong thing and you didn't cut it off like an idiot, then you should never have to worry about that. That is not a thing. Yeah, you will not. In the old days of like the microphone shocking you, you shouldn't have those issues unless you have really messed up your setup. Do not play a guitar with that. Do not play an amp with that stuff. Don't shortcut that stuff.
Bandshake Guitar says, I'd rather check the outlets before plugging it in an unknown venue.
Amen, brother. And you can buy the little checky thing and just have it in your bag. And they have the little noise suppressory ones too that you can plug in. And yeah, don't mess with that stuff.
David Kornblatt, have you ever owned a Husky motorcycle?
No, but my best friend that I rode with every day, almost every day, had Husqvarna's. So I got to ride them quite a bit, actually. I might have had a demo once for a while, but I never owned one.
Matt Homan says, Dylan! Exclamation. What do you think of Joe Naylor's rail hammers? Or should I buy a set of your DAFs?
Well, you should buy a set of my DAFs because they're amazing. I really want to do a video on the rail hammers. In fact, that reminds me. My buddy's a production manager at Reverend, and he told me that he would send me some of those pickups so that they could take them apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep forgetting to hook that up. So we need to do a video about those. But I really think you should buy our DAFs. They're awesome. Proper vintage PAF sound.
Okay. It is 8:56 and I'm all caught up.
Really?
So if I missed you, send it in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Or super chat and we'll stay here.
Yeah. Otherwise, next time you see us, we're going to be not here. Well, the video that comes out on Monday I shot and the video editor has that. So that'll be from here.
But only a week out?
Sort of. Yes. But I did it on purpose because I want to shoot some stuff in Colorado that will come out the following week. So we have a plan.
Gotcha.
And I talked to Matt today about shooting some content there that maybe we don't normally get to shoot because we might have a few minutes to do it next week. So I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah, because I want to talk about some processes and some stuff that, I don't get to spend much time with.
Matt Hellman says, word up. The Billy Corgans look cool, though.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
David Kornblatt, thoughts on Novak pickups?
Curtis Novak makes some of the coolest pickups ever, and he makes some stuff that nobody else makes. When people call me and say, do you make this wacky thing? I say, no, I don't, but check Tim McNally, check Curtis Novak, and check the Creamery over in England for some of the wackier stuff that I can't make. Those are my 3 go-tos that I refer people to if we don't make it.
DP just rolled on. Hey guys, how much a difference is there in tone between Telly Bridge pickups with or without metal base plates? Thanks.
A lot, because that is really kind of the whole ball of wax with a Telly base plate, with a Telly pickup with a Telly base plate. And I know that there are some Squire and Mexico ones and stuff, some cheaper guitars that don't have them. And they basically will use ceramic magnets and they'll do some other things to try to compensate for it, but it's never really the same. Having a proper Telly Bridge pickup with the base plate is the thing, because it's steel and it changes the shape of the magnetic field for sure.
Angel Raven 444. Hey Dylan, when is your Jazzmaster teardown?
The Jazzmaster teardown came out on Monday, this past Monday.
Rusty, RV recommendations.
RV recommendations?
That's what it says.
Depends what you're going to use it for.
Mm-hmm.
It depends what you're going to use it for. There's lots of choices. We had a 38-foot Class A that we loved, and we lived in it for 2 years, and it was amazing. And then we got rid of it, and now we have a B van, a Ram ProMaster B van, and it's fantastic because it's small and it fits everywhere. And we can still live in it. Like, we lived in it for 6 weeks in the springtime. We're going to be in it for about 10 days this time. That's awesome. 12 days?
Curtis Chavez, any idea why rail pickups lost popularity?
Probably because nobody famous really used them that much. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Benny's World. Did you see Tim McNally's mini Charlie Christians? How do those work?
I don't know how they work, and they are cool. Yes, I did see them. I've talked to him about those. Oh, we got a super chat.
TP. Sorry, meant that question to be a super chat. Cheers.
Thanks,
I think we
dude.
already answered it too.
I appreciate that.
Add a TM. What do you think of Ori Pure pickups?
Never heard of them.
Me either.
That's a name I've not heard.
SF Dylan, why don't humbuckers use pushback wire, but Fender does? Is there any difference?
They used to use pushback wire, but it was different. It had cloth. It was a center. It was a center conductor with cloth on it with a braid ground on the outside. And it was one single wire grounded on the outside with a conductor in the middle. It's an absolute pain in the butt to work with, and you can't do anything with it. Coil splits or nothing, so that's why we don't use it. We use regular 4-wire with the drain, so it's actually 5-wire pickup for our stuff.
David Kornblatt said, visit Phil McKnight in Arizona. He's definitely not on the way.
That's not on the way this time, but it is on the list, and Phil and I have discussed it. Yeah.
How come our list is always on different parts of the country?
That's
so that
the
show
problem.
last night made me think of the people we need to go see in Connecticut.
I know.
Did
I know. Yes. It
I don't
made
know
me think
why.
of it too. I know. I have a whole East Coast run that I want to do and see a bunch of people. And then there's the whole, I really want to do the Ohio thing again. And then there's the whole Oklahoma thing. Thomas Tourville actually asked if we were going to be coming through Oklahoma City because he wants to see us. There's a whole Oklahoma thing.
Go through Oklahoma instead of Kansas.
Because
better.
then, it does. Because then we could also go to Keeley again because he's got a new factory that I would really like to see.
Oh,
and then
it would have to be on the way out though, so I don't have time for all that.
Okay. And then we would have to go the whole Arizona thing. There's a whole, and then California again, obviously, because we got to go see Carlos Lopez again because we couldn't see him at NAMM. Yeah, we have a whole list of stuff that we want to do, but you run out of days.
Keeps getting
Well,
longer.
the biggest thing is we've been so busy that we can't be away from the workbench for very long because we're selling a lot of people are ordering a lot of pickups. And it's really fun. It's been really, really fun, but it kind of keeps us. But that's why we do what we do. So it's good.
Ivan Romanenko. Hi, Dylan. Any recommendations for a small desktop practice amp?
Yes, this right here. The Positive Grid Spark Mini. And there is a link in the description that you can use. I meant to mention this. We don't have sponsors for this show, okay? It's just you folks and your super chats. However, what I'm going to start doing on these live streams, I did this on Tuesday, is sometimes these companies will text me and say, hey, we've got a little thing going and we want you to know about it. So Positive Grid emailed me the other day. They're having a sale, and there's 2 different discount codes you can use. Control 10 and Control 40. And you can get, I think, $40 off this and the foot controller or the bigger Spark with a foot controller. You can get $40 off and a couple of other specials. So there's a link down below, Positive Grid, Control 10 and Control 40, and it'll get you some sales stuff. And when you use those links, it does help out the channel. So they're not sponsoring anything, but it does help me out a little bit when you do use them. So instead of having a bunch of sponsors, since we don't, I figured I would let you guys know about a couple of those every week because it does help us. You know, the other one would be Runway Audio. So Runway Audio, the cables that we use, these right here
with a guitar
with
string.
a guitar string stuck in it. These Runway Audio cables are fantastic. They're the bomb. They're absolutely the bomb. They're the lowest capacitance cables on the market for any kind of reasonable money, unless you're getting into like $250 cables. They're really, really good. If you use the code, I
Is
think
this label fading?
it is. Because I keep wearing it. I'm just wearing it off.
I know, but we should tell him that. Like, he doesn't want that to happen, right?
Yeah. Maybe I'll have him. He'll send me some
No,
more
no, no.
stuff.
I just mean for his. Like, is he still using it? Like,
Oh, I
should
don't
he
know.
get something else done or?
I want to get a couple different colors too, because they come in a couple of different colors. Anyway, there's a link down there below that you can use, and it'll get you 10% off his cables as well. So, anyway.
A bunch of people are like, you need to come to Canada. And then they're like, one's in BC and one's in Ottawa. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
Canada's
a
big.
little far apart. Yeah.
I do want to go to Canada. I've never been to Canada. Except our phone said we were in Canada one time when we went to Niagara Falls.
Yeah. We took the Maid of the Mist tour, and you go down next to the falls, and you get close enough to Canada that your phone thinks you're in Canada.
Yeah.
I guess you technically are in Canada. In the
Maybe, but it was back when like roaming was a thing, and it was like,
don't touch your phone.
Yeah. I don't know if roaming's still a thing. Anyway.
That's really funny.
Awesome.
I think we're caught up, huh?
Yep.
Awesome, you guys. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. We will see you on Monday with another video and a bunch of really cool stuff from Colorado. I might even like upload some kind of vloggy thing about our trip out there and stuff, even though nobody likes to watch those really. But we have another YouTube channel for that too. So keep an eye out for a link to that.
To revive it.
Yep. So awesome. We will see you later.